Hi everyone. For the first time on the channel, we are delving into And Then There Were Three by Genesis. There we are. There's the CD. This is the 2007 remaster, which is the music that we'll be listening to in a moment or two's time. Now, our first time ever going onto this album, and there's a reason for that. And without wishing to sound too controversial, if someone was to ask me, rate all the Genesis albums from top to bottom, which album would be at the bottom of your list, I'm afraid to say it would be this one. And I don't want to sound controversial, and I don't want to disrespect anybody who loves this album. There are some songs on here that I adore. It's just that of all the albums, it's the hardest one for me to play from start to finish all the way through without getting a little bit edgy. That being said, this song we're playing is, in my opinion, by far the best track on the album and one of the best three-piece Genesis songs that they ever produced. So let the discussion commence, but let's listen to the song first of all. It's The Lady Lies, and it's the penultimate track on the album. And we'll talk about that in a little bit as well afterwards. But here we go. This is The Lady Lies from And Then There Were Three, famously Genesis' first three-piece lineup album. And astonishingly, it was released on the 24th of March, 1978. It always feels later, but it was 1978 and early on as well. So anyway, let's listen to The Lady Lies.
Out in the moonlight at the sound of a scream from below. He thinks he is a warrior, so he picks up his sword and goes. From the mouth of the monster he rescues the maiden fair, but we know she's a demon come to lure him to the demon's lair. Through restless foliage and tall trees he leads to a house in a clearing, a place in her fear she calls home. Come with me, I need you. I feel dark and I live all alone. I'll give you wine and food too, and something special after if you like. And though his body bids him to enter in with her, there was something in her manner that his mind could not ignore. Also it is whispered in the kingdom far and wide to beware a little cottage in the forest in a glade. For who knows what magic takes place in his world, so he just thanks her kindly, preparing to go on his way. Come with me, I need you. I feel the dark and I live all alone. I'll give you wine and food too, and something special after if you like. Come to my garden, taste the fruits and the spices of love. You saw fit to pay a call. Some men never listen and others never learn, but why this man did as he did, only he will ever know. He knew he was walking into a waiting trap, neatly set up for him with a bait so richly wrapped. So he went inside there to take on what he found, but he never escaped them, for who can escape what he desires? Come with me, I need you, I fear the dark, and I live all alone. I'll give you wine and food too, and something special after if you like.
That's one of my favourite outros of any Genesis song. They are just going for it. Tony's piano, Mike's bass, and Phil's drumming. They are just, it just seems like they're having such a lot of fun there. Um, this is a magnificent song. Um, and it kind of, for me anyway, it kind of, how can I say it? It kind of demonstrates everything that I think they wanted to achieve on this particular album, but in a lot of cases, unfortunately, just fell a little bit short. I mean, first of all, you have kind of like the old style Genesis with their songwriting and the story behind the song, and it's a fable about somebody who's lured into into a cottage, and everything is not as it seems. And of course, it's a well-worn story, but it's given such a sense of pizzazz by Phil singing. Um, he plays the two parts absolutely perfectly, not over the top. No caricature of the lady enticing the young man in. It is all done absolutely perfectly, as if he's enjoying himself. Uh, Tony, the synth solo is one of his best. His playing throughout the entire track of both synth and organ, and particularly piano, is top draw. And Mike Rutherford's bass, it's worth just, how long is it, 6 minutes or so? It's worth just sitting back and concentrating on the bass for 6 minutes. He plays some magnificent lines, and it's perfect for the music that they're offering. This song would have graced any Genesis album. End of story, as far as I'm concerned. But I have to talk about the album, and I have to talk about, I guess it's a product of exactly where they were at this particular time. Steve had gone, and then there were three. And Phil has often talked about how he felt in the days leading up to Steve departing that he always felt like he was in the middle between two camps. You had the two dominant personalities of Peter Gabriel and Tony Banks. And Peter was normally backed up by Steve, and Tony was backed up by Mike. But there was a balance there, and Phil was in the middle, and he was the wonderful drummer and the backup harmony vocalist. And as I say, there was a balance. Then, of course, Peter left, and everything tipped towards Tony's camp. And ultimately, that's why Steve left, because he wasn't getting the opportunity. He felt he wasn't getting the opportunities. He wasn't pushing his writing enough, and he felt sidelined. So he left. Now we have everything tipped onto Tony's side, and this album shows that. Obviously, it is very, very keyboard driven. Mike Rutherford at this stage was very, very timid on a guitar, and he's the first to admit it. The first solo that he ever, the only solo that features on this particular album is on Burning Rope, and it's about four minutes plus into it. And I read that Tony actually wrote out that solo for him, note for note. He wasn't confident enough to improvise it or to do it himself. So the influence of the musical influence on the album is highly, highly swayed towards Tony. And there's no edit, I don't think. There's no counterbalance, somebody just presenting another argument, if you like. And so some of it's a bit of a drudge. I'm really sorry, but I feel like I have to say this today. There are some songs that I absolutely adore and I play all the time. Ballad of Big, Snowbound, purely for the synth sound. I mean, the lyrics are about a snowman, for heaven's sake, but the actual sound is astonishing. Deep in the Mother Lode is lovely, except that it has the worst transition ever in a Genesis song. It is so jarring, and yet everything else about it is absolutely lovely. Scenes from a Night's Dream is a joy. It's a piece of fun. It almost reminds me of a 1978 version of Harold the Barrel, insofar as it's just a light-hearted romp through a children's fairy tale. And then you've got The Lady Lies. And this is where the album should have stopped. At a high point, listening to that outro, oh my word. But then came Follow You, Follow Me. And people love Follow You, Follow Me. It got to what? It got to number 7 in the UK singles chart. It got to number 23 in the American singles chart. And the critics who are gentle, they find lots of good things to say about the song. They talk about Mike Rutherford's guitar intro and how it could well be possible that Andy Summers took note of that when he did the Police song Every Breath You Take. And yes, musically it's played wonderfully, but to me it's bland, and I never play it. So sorry about that. I just feel the album would have been more exciting, and a better piece of work. Maybe that could have been put into earlier on into the album. I don't know if it had to be there, but it's not my favourite. So there we are. I know I'm opening up a whole can of worms here, but I really would like to hear from you. It's no disrespect. I mean, I love Genesis. I love all versions of Genesis. And as I've said, I love this song and I love quite a few other songs on the album. But as a total package, it's the hardest album for me to play through from start to finish. Um, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it. Let's have a good old discussion. That's what we're here for. We love our music, and everyone's tastes are a little bit different. Um, but yeah, there we go. It's Genesis. It's and then there were three, and now it's time for comments, please, below. I hope someone will like this video. I hope I haven't been too controversial. Um, and if you want to hear any more about Genesis, if you want to hear more Genesis songs, we have lots on the channel. It's on a Genesis playlist. Please subscribe. Please help us in our journey towards 500 subscribers. That's the first big um, target, if you like, our first big objective. And I would love to get there. And I'll only get there with your support. So thank you very much for having watched today and having listened to my bit of a rant about this particular album. I'm not normally um, a negative person, and I don't think I'm being negative. I think I'm just being honest and I'm presenting a balanced view. But let's just hear what you guys have to say. So until the next time, which will be tomorrow, we have a video every day, so the next one will be out tomorrow. But until then, thanks ever so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.